Gail. Glad you joined me. In this segment of overview training, we'll be talking about adjustments. Adjustments are income tax items we can use to bring down or reduce or adjust the total income on the tax return. Before I begin to address some of the adjustments, let's just take a quick look back. Once again, this is a portion of the Form 1040 tax return, page 1. Take a close look at line 9, total income. Total income happens when wages, interest, dividends, IRA distributions and pensions, Social Security benefits, capital gains and losses, and other income from Schedule 1, such as taxable refunds or credits from a state or local income taxes, alimony received, business income or loss, unemployment received, winnings from lotteries or gambling, jury duties, and all other types of income have all been reported. Once again, line 9 represents total income. Next, we're down to line 10, adjustments to income. Adjustments to income are found on that same Schedule 1. Those adjustments to income are used to bring down, reduce, or adjust the income so that the taxes are figured on a lesser amount of income. Allow me to take you back to Form 13614C, page 2, Part 4. If the taxpayer has checked yes to line items 1, 2, 3, 4B, 6, 7, or 8, gives you a hint that the taxpayer might have some eligible adjustments to their tax return. Item 4B can be used as an adjustment for 2020 only if the taxpayer gives a cash contribution and uses the standard deduction method. Yes, I know we've not talked about standard deduction yet, but it's coming up. Switching back, legit adjustment items which can be used to reduce the income are found on Schedule 1 of the Form 1040. From this slide, you can see a number of adjustment items. I will touch briefly on each one which are within the scope of the VITA program in the next few slides. Follow along with me in Publication 4012, Tab E, the Adjustments section. Referring to Schedule 1, allow me to walk through the applicable VITA lines. Line 10, educator expenses, are available to qualified educators. Check out Publication 4012, page E-4. The chart on page E-4 identifies the maximum benefit dollar amount, who the qualified educators are, as well as what the qualified expenses cover. Line 12 is the health savings account. These are contributions and can be used as an adjustment to income. Publication 4012, page E-6 through E-8 spells out clearly what HSA is and the paid expenses, which can be used as an adjustment to income. Now, line 14 is the deductible part of self-employment taxes. You may recall when I addressed the business income segment and the Schedule C, at the very end of that segment, I mentioned self-employment taxes being the same as the Social Security taxes for the self-employed. Well, the tax law allows the self-employed taxpayer to deduct approximately 1/2 of the self-employment tax or the Social Security taxes as an adjustment to income on Schedule 1 of Form 1040. Do you need to do anything special to make this happen? No. Once you're done with the Schedule C's input and there's a net profit of $400 or more, the appropriate amount will be entered where it needs to go on the Schedule 1, which is line 14. Enough said. Line 16 is the self-employed health insurance deduction. It represents premiums paid for health insurance incurred by the self-employed taxpayer. Insurance can be for the self-employed person, that person's spouse, and or their dependents. The amount can be shown here or on the Form 1040 Schedule C, but not in both places. Publication 4012, page E-5 shows the TaxSlayer Pro Online screenshot along with some explanations. Line 17, penalty on early withdrawal of savings. Well, that amount is likely to show up on the informational document or the source document Form 1099 INT, which we've already seen in the income segment. Line 18, we spoke to this in the earlier income segment as well. Recall, alimony received is taxable as reflected from the Income Quick Reference Guide on page D-1 in publication 4012. Allow me to elaborate just a bit further. Alimony, once again, is taxable to the person receiving it, but it is deductible or used as an adjustment by the person paying it. You will note that line 18 has an A, B, and C part. In addition to showing the alimony amount paid, the taxpayer will need to furnish the ex-spouse's Social Security number, etc. That's a form of checks and balances, if you will. Publication 4012, page E-9, breaks down the characteristics of what alimony is as well as what alimony is not. Line 19, IRA deduction. This is found in your publication 4012, page E-10. Please read the entire page, including the notes at the bottom of the page, as well as the TaxSlayer hint located at the bottom. There were significant changes made in 2020 from prior years, so once again, read the notes. Line 20 is student loan interest deduction. Publication 4012, page E11, so clearly defines and explains this adjustment, I really can't add anything to it. It covers the maximum benefit, loan qualification, student qualification, time limit on the deduction, and the income level phase-out limitation. What is the source document for this adjustment? Looking back at Form 13614C, it's Form 1098E. Line 21, tuition and fees deduction, is a little bit tricky. This deduction or adjustment can be used as an adjustment to income or can be used as an eligible education deduction, possibly resulting in a credit on the tax return, which could mean money in the pocket as opposed to a reduction in taxable income. Just something to consider. So now we've gone through Part 2, adjustments to income on the Schedule 1, down to line 22, where all the adjustments are total except for the charitable contribution. The total adjustments automatically moves to the front of the Form 1040, page 1, line 10A. Line 10B references the cash charitable contribution up to $300 that was input into TaxSlayer. This cash contribution can only be used if the taxpayer uses the standard deduction instead of itemizing their deductions. The standard deduction for each filing status is shown to the left of the arrow on this slide. Nothing to figure here in terms of the standard deduction amounts. All the work has already been done. However, if the taxpayer is itemizing, their total deductions will include the charitable contributions. Form 1040 Schedule A is required when itemizing. Schedule A takes into consideration the highlighted items from the Form 13614C. In order to benefit the taxpayer, the Schedule A or itemized deduction totals must exceed the standard deduction of the specific filing status. If the Schedule A itemized deduction totals do not exceed the standard deduction for the taxpayer's filing status, and the taxpayer has cash charitable contributions, then on line 10B of the Form 1040, the cash charitable contributions can be used as an adjustment to income. If the taxpayer has total itemized deductions less than the standard deduction, itemizing will not benefit the taxpayer. The TaxSlayer software chooses the most beneficial method for the taxpayer based upon the filing status. Publication 4012, page E-1, shows a screenshot of the adjustments to income in TaxSlayer software. In order to claim the cash charitable contribution, the tax preparer will need to possibly navigate to the bottom of this screen to other adjustments to use the drop-down menu to locate cash contributions up to $300 and using the standard deduction. These are screenshots of the TaxSlayer software program. The cash gifts to charity will flow from input into the TaxSlayer software deduction screen. From the main deduction screen, you would select Itemized Deductions. Then, from the Itemized Deduction screen, 2 Gifts of Cash Contribution. Cash gifts to charity, if the standard deduction is used, will eventually make its way to the Form 1040, line 10B. After the adjustments from line 10, line 11 simply subtracts the total adjustments from the total income to arrive at adjusted gross income. Line 12 represents the itemized deductions or the standard deduction amount shown in the bubble to the left of line 12. Line 13 deals with an automatic calculation in TaxSlayer software based upon the business income already reported. Line 14 totals lines 12 and 13. This again is an automatic TaxSlayer software calculation. Line 15 now is taxable income. Here we've subtracted line 14 from line 11, adjusted gross income. Now, we have covered the entire Form 1040, page 1. We've come a long way. I hope you've started to put some things together in your mind up to this point. Let's get started on page 2 of Form 1040. See you in the next overview segment.